Welcome to the Art of Moving Boxes. In this series, we're going to talk about the real reasons warehouse implementations fail. Not the polished version, not the project plan version, but what actually shows up inside the operation. These lessons come from real warehouse work, real WM's implementations, and real leadership pressure on the floor. Let's get into it and see why. "26 Saturdays. Welcome to a lesson on implementation reality, how burnout becomes the project plan. Today I want to talk about something I've seen more than once during warehouse and WMS implementations. I call it 26 Saturdays. The title comes from a real pattern. A project starts falling behind. Maybe requirements took longer than expected. Maybe testing wasn't completed on schedule. Maybe there were design issues nobody wanted to address. Maybe leadership committed to a date before the organization was actually ready. Then somebody comes up with a solution. We'll work weekends. At first, it sounds reasonable. One Saturday, then another, then another. Before long, people are working every Saturday for 6 months. 26 Saturdays. And everyone starts acting like that's normal. The project team calls it commitment. Leadership calls it dedication. The consultants call it doing whatever it takes. But the warehouse sees something different. The warehouse sees a project that's trying to solve planning problems with human sacrifice. Here's the truth. Burnout is not a project plan. Working harder is not the same thing as working smarter. And eventually, every organization reaches a point where effort can no longer compensate for poor decisions. The project starts to feel heavy. The energy that was there during kickoff begins to fade, replaced by a grim mechanical persistence. I've watched projects where a handful of people carried the entire implementation. The same people attended every meeting, the same people answered every question, the same people fixed every issue, the same people worked every weekend. What nobody realized was that those people were becoming the project. That's dangerous, because eventually people get tired, people make mistakes. Instead of building sustainable processes, the organization was building dependency. Instead of creating knowledge across a team, they were concentrating it in a few exhausted individuals. That's dangerous, because eventually people get tired. People make mistakes. People leave, people burn out, and when that happens, the organization discovers how much risk was hidden beneath all those heroic efforts. One of the biggest myths in implementations is the idea that heroics are a sign of success. They're not. Heroics are usually a warning sign. Healthy projects don't require constant rescue. Healthy projects don't survive because a few people are willing to sacrifice every weekend. Healthy projects are built on planning, communication, accountability, and realistic expectations. Now, don't get me wrong, every implementation has crunch periods. Every project has moments when people need to step up. But there's a difference between occasional extra effort and making burnout part of the operating model. When weekend work becomes the expectation instead of the exception, something is wrong. The organization may not want to admit it. The status reports may still be green. The steering committee may still be optimistic. But the people closest to the work know the truth. And eventually, the warehouse knows the truth too. I've seen projects where leadership celebrated the team's dedication. What they should have been asking is why that dedication was necessary. Why were people working every weekend? Why was the schedule unrealistic? Why were issues discovered so late? Why did the project depend on a handful of individuals? Those are leadership questions. Because burnout is often a symptom. It's a symptom of deeper planning problems. It's a symptom of unrealistic timelines. It's a symptom of poor governance. It's a symptom of organizations that confuse effort with readiness. And here's the part many leaders miss. The damage doesn't end when the project ends. The people remember, the warehouse remembers, the culture remembers. A successful implementation shouldn't leave an operation in a state of trauma. It shouldn't leave the floor feeling like a battleground that everyone is trying to escape. I've seen talented employees leave after go live because they had nothing left to give. I've seen supervisors lose trust in leadership because they felt the burden was unfairly placed on the operation. I've seen organizations spend months recovering from a successful implementation. Think about that. A successful implementation. The software worked, the project went live, the objectives were achieved, but the people paid the price. That's not the outcome we should be celebrating. The goal isn't to survive the implementation. The goal is to succeed without destroying the team that has to run the operation afterward. That's what great leaders understand. They don't measure success by how much pain people can endure. They measure success by how effectively the organization can execute. It's not just about the implementation phase, it's about the next 3 years. A team that is burned out during go live will struggle to optimize the system later. Optimization requires creativity, and creativity is the first thing that vanishes under chronic stress. If you want a high-performing warehouse, you need a high-performing team. True governance isn't about enforcing a deadline at any cost. It's about monitoring the health of the execution and having the courage to course correct when the plan is failing. It requires continuous communication between leadership and the floor, not just status reports, but a real understanding of the operational friction. Great leaders set realistic expectations with their stakeholders. They protect their teams from the arbitrary pressure of a calendar date that doesn't reflect operational readiness. The health of your operation is the ultimate metric. If you sacrifice that health for a go live, you've already lost. Because at the end of the day, the warehouse doesn't care how many Saturdays people work. It doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care about promises. The warehouse only reflects reality, and reality has a way of exposing every shortcut. Warehouse truth: if success requires 26 Saturdays, the project was understaffed, underplanned, underled, or all three, burnout is not a project plan. It's a warning sign, and the warehouse never lies. We build for the long term. We build for the people who show up on turn 27 and turn 200 and turn 1000. That's the art of moving boxes. Subscribe to the Art of Moving Boxes for real-world warehouse, WMS, and supply chain lessons that actually show up on the floor. Thank you for watching. If you found this content useful, interesting, or engaging, please subscribe to the Art of Moving Boxes YouTube channel below. And make sure to join the Art of Moving Boxes LinkedIn group on LinkedIn. That is where we continue the conversation around real warehouse operations, WMS implementations, supply chain execution, and leadership lessons from the floor. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe below, join us on LinkedIn, and I'll see you in the next video.